Have you ever been in the position where you've been responsible for something and the only one to hold you accountable would be yourself? So, despite everything, you end up fighting against this proposed deadline, even though it's you who proposed it. And you know there will be little to change either way. So, it doesn't seem like anything that should really matter. However, you end up ingraining yourself with these proposed lies for the sake of escaping a proposed threat. That the only one who's implying said threat is yourself. I've been finding it hard to speak to this piece of technology as if it were an old friend, even though this has been a place that I'd been meaning to come to unwind, to relax. And I think almost in some way it's a form of flagellation, not allowing myself the relaxation, the ability to let some things go, finally, as I fear the ramifications of allowing oneself too much comfort. I think perhaps it's some sort of exercise in turning the everyday into meditation. As I went on a walk, my morning walk, as I am wont to do, I looked around and everything seemed so much more vibrant than it usually was. Or perhaps I was only able to notice it as such. Even the dead and dying trees, who've been sitting dormant for months, appeared in an indescribably intricate pattern work. And I felt as though I had been sitting upon treasures that I had not examined at all for the past several months, or at least weeks. And I don't really know what I'm getting at anymore. I don't know what I'm afraid of. I don't have, as it were, the question. I feel aimless. I feel like I need to find a question so that I can find an answer, but there don't seem to be any questions. Perhaps this is meant to show that one is meant to exercise outside of one's own comfort zone, expand one's own boundaries on one's own time. Perhaps. But I feel like I've lost the way. As all the people outside of my sphere of influence grow further and further away, and it seems like all the attempts I've made get dashed upon the stones. It's hard to find things that are meaningful outside of my current sphere of influence, and I find myself possibly clinging unconsciously to the past, wishing for simpler times, yet being afraid of change, even though change isn't always bad. And in fact, change can sometimes lead to some of the most productive times of your life. I come before you, speaking my mind, counting the numbers, yet wholly unaware of the passage of time, save for the measurement it is afforded by events taking place. I will not notice how many days pass in between an object of importance and another one. So I need to start marking my days as equally important and finding time to do the things that I wish to do, as opposed to trying to only find ways to be productive inside those days. For days that are not earmarked for productivity don't need to be used for productivity, but if the need arises, I'm sure I'll find a way to become productive if the need arises. But I need, more importantly, to learn how to relax, how to be myself, and how to be comfortable with the simple things that I do tend to enjoy, the things that I would like to impart upon my life, and by proxy, the improvements I make upon my life will then riffle outwards towards those who deem my life an appropriate place to exist. Such small things as a cat. You question things such as, is it kind to shelter something, or is it an altogether misappropriation of power, as you are then finding yourself unable to allow things to exist out of where you believe they should. It is against the natural order of things to appropriate, say, an animal that you would then deem a friend, because you try and impart human emotions onto things that are not human, inanimate objects and animals. You try and say that the ways that they elicit actions of friendship are the same as something that a human would do, when it ends up largely becoming a function of their survival. If you cannot become functionally good at surviving based on your own merits, you become functionally charming and use the merits of others to continue to survive. I think even animals can understand this functionality of the human brain. As simple as it is, we are prone to want to take care of things that we can identify as vaguely humanoid, anything that we can say has something resembling a face, which then ends up being every creature in existence. There will be a thing that is a living organism that people find the desire to take care of. It's a very bizarre concept, if you think about it. Why should we be so drawn to these things? It's not that we're drawn to them, it's that we're meant to be drawn to our own infancy, our own infants. And I think that that might be part of the reason that the past is something that people dwell on. Because, well, if you don't take full note of the past, you can't keep yourself safe from the damages that were caused to you in the past. And also, you want to be able to properly raise younglings. And the past ends up becoming something that is ingrained into your muscle memory rather than important for the passage of time itself.